Let me ask you something. Have you ever been sitting at your kitchen table in the morning, sipping that first cup of coffee when you get the urge to check your blood pressure? You wrap the cuff around your arm, press the button, and then hold your breath as the numbers pop up. Maybe you see 145 over 90 and suddenly your mind starts racing. You wonder, do I need to start a pill? Is this just part of getting older? Or worse, am I at risk of something more serious like a stroke or heart attack? If that moment has ever made you nervous, you're not alone. Many of my patients in their 50s, 60s, and 70s tell me the same story. They feel fine, but the blood pressure monitor shows numbers that are a little too high, and in that moment, they feel a mix of confusion and fear. Should I rush to the doctor? Should I change my diet overnight? Is there really anything I can do without adding another pill to my list? I want you to know this. Blood pressure is not something to ignore, but it's also not something to panic about. You have more control than you may realize, and it doesn't always require a prescription bottle. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through how to manage and improve your blood pressure naturally without medication. We'll talk about simple lifestyle changes that actually work, the kinds of foods and daily habits that can make a real difference, and some of the common mistakes people over 50 often make without realizing it. My goal is to give you tools you can start using right away, whether you're in your living room, grocery shopping, or taking a walk around your neighborhood. And I want you to feel encouraged, not overwhelmed. Because small, steady changes often add up to big results, and I've seen this happen time and again with my patients. So let's get into it, because keeping your blood pressure in a healthy range is one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect your heart, your brain, and your independence as you age. The first thing I want you to remember is that blood pressure is not a fixed number. It changes throughout the day depending on stress, movement, even your posture. Many people check it once, see a high number, and think, oh no, I'm in trouble. But just like you wouldn't judge the whole weather forecast on a single gust of wind, you shouldn't judge your blood pressure on one reading. The trend over time is what really matters. Now, let's talk about diet, because this is often where people have the most control. One of the most proven approaches is reducing sodium, salt, in your daily meals. But here's the truth. Most of the salt you eat isn't from the salt shaker on your table. It's hidden in packaged foods, canned soups, frozen dinners, chips, even bread. I've had patients tell me they never add salt, yet their numbers stay high. And when we look at what's in their pantry, the culprit becomes clear. So here's a practical tip. Next time you're at the grocery store, turn the box or can around and look at the sodium content. If it's more than 300 milligrams per serving, put it back. Instead, try fresh produce, whole grains, and lean proteins. For example, instead of a frozen dinner, think about roasting some chicken, steaming vegetables, and adding a baked sweet potato. It's not only healthier, it fills you up without the hidden salt. Another powerful change is adding potassium-rich foods to your plate. Potassium helps balance sodium in your body. Foods like bananas, oranges, spinach, beans, and even baked potatoes with the skin can give you a natural boost. I once had a patient in her late 60s who swapped her daily bag of chips for a banana and a handful of nuts. Within 3 months, her blood pressure dropped by 10 points. She was amazed that something so simple worked. Of course, food is only part of the story. Movement is the next big player. Now, I know exercise can sound intimidating, especially if your joints ache or you feel tired easily. But I'm not talking about running marathons. Even a daily 20-30-minute walk around your neighborhood can lower blood pressure significantly. Picture this. You grab a light jacket, step outside, and stroll down the street while the sun is setting. It's gentle, enjoyable, and you're doing your heart a world of good. Stress is another factor we often overlook. Have you noticed how your blood pressure goes up when you're stuck in traffic? Or when you've had a heated conversation? Stress triggers hormones that tighten your blood vessels. That's why relaxation isn't just a luxury, it's medicine. Simple breathing exercises, meditation, or even sitting quietly with your favorite book can help lower stress levels and in turn bring your pressure down. I also encourage you to keep an eye on your weight, not with the goal of being skinny, but with the goal of keeping your heart and blood vessels healthy. Even losing just 5 or 10 pounds can lower your numbers. One of my patients in his 70s started by cutting back on soda and replacing it with water flavored with lemon slices. Over 6 months, he lost 12 pounds and his blood pressure improved enough that his doctor didn't need to start him on medication. And speaking of water, hydration matters more than you might think. Dehydration can make blood pressure fluctuate. Aim for steady, regular sips throughout the day. You don't need to overdo it, but a simple habit like keeping a glass of water by your side can go a long way. Another habit that makes a difference is limiting alcohol. I'm not saying you can never enjoy a glass of wine at dinner, but be mindful. More than one drink a day for women, or two for men, can start to push your numbers upward. Balance is key. Sleep is another overlooked piece. Poor sleep or untreated sleep apnea can drive blood pressure higher. If you're waking up tired, snoring loudly, or feeling foggy during the day, talk with your doctor about sleep quality. Sometimes improving sleep alone helps bring the numbers back under control. Now let's pause for a moment. Think about your own life. Where do you see the most room for change? Is it in your diet, your daily routine, or managing stress? Sometimes just identifying that first step is enough to get the ball rolling because the truth is, you don't have to change everything overnight. Pick one thing, maybe it's swapping chips for fruit, maybe it's taking a walk after dinner instead of watching TV right away. These small choices add up, and before long, you'll notice your blood pressure readings moving in the right direction. And let me share something important. You're not powerless in this. Your daily habits hold tremendous power. Each step you take, each healthy choice you make, is an investment in your independence, your vitality, and your future. Now, one area I want to focus on is how your environment shapes your blood pressure more than you might think. Many seniors I've worked with live in neighborhoods where walking outside every day isn't always easy. Maybe the sidewalks aren't great, or the weather is unpredictable. But here's the thing, you don't need a fancy gym or even perfect sidewalks to stay active. You can walk inside your home, march in place while watching the evening news, or put on some music and gently dance in your living room. The important part is keeping your body moving on a regular basis. Movement helps your blood vessels stay flexible and lowers those pressure readings over time. Let's also talk about caffeine because this is a common question I get from patients. Doctor, do I have to give up my morning coffee? The short answer is not necessarily. For some people, caffeine can cause a temporary spike in blood pressure, but for others, it has little effect. My advice is simple. Check your pressure before and about 30 minutes after your morning cup. If you notice a big jump, it might be wise to cut back or switch to half-caffeinated coffee. But if your numbers stay steady, you can usually enjoy your morning ritual without worry. Another tip that often surprises people is paying attention to posture. Slouching or sitting for long periods can actually reduce circulation and put more strain on your system. Something as small as sitting up straight, keeping your feet flat on the ground, and getting up every 30 minutes to stretch can support healthy blood flow. I once had a patient who started setting a little kitchen timer to remind him to get up during his favorite TV shows. Over time, not only did he feel more energetic, but his blood pressure readings improved. I also want to touch on the emotional side. Sometimes blood pressure spikes when you're anxious about it. Yes, what we call white coat hypertension at the doctor's office is very real. If you notice your readings shoot up the minute you sit down with your cuff, take a moment to relax first. Breathe deeply. Sit quietly for 5 minutes, and then take the measurement. You might be surprised how much lower it is once your body has calmed down. Let's not forget the power of social connection. Loneliness and isolation can raise stress hormones that, in turn, raise blood pressure. Picking up the phone to call a friend, joining a church group, volunteering, or even chatting with a neighbor can all have real health benefits. I had a gentleman in his late 70s who started attending a weekly senior walking group. Not only did he enjoy the company, but over 6 months his blood pressure readings dropped by nearly 15 points. That's the kind of impact friendship and community can have. And here's a reflection for you. Think about your day yesterday. How many moments were spent in quiet connection, healthy movement, or simply nourishing your body with wholesome food? Now think about today. Where could you add just 1 or 2 more of those moments? That's how real change begins. There's also the question of supplements. Many people ask me if there's a magic pill at the vitamin store that can replace medication. The truth is, while certain nutrients like magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids may help support heart health, There's no one pill that can take the place of a healthy lifestyle. If you do choose to try supplements, make sure you talk with your doctor first, especially since some can interact with medications you may already be taking. One final point I want to stress is consistency. Lowering blood pressure naturally isn't about quick fixes. It's about daily choices made over weeks and months that slowly transform your health. Think of it like planting a garden. You don't expect to see tomatoes the next day after you put the seeds in the ground. You water, you nurture, you give it time. And before long, you see the harvest. Your health works in much the same way. Another important piece of the puzzle is routine. Our bodies thrive on rhythm and consistency. When you go to bed around the same time, wake up at a regular hour, eat your meals in a steady pattern, and include some form of activity daily, your blood pressure tends to stay more balanced. It's like your body appreciates predictability. I've seen patients who used to eat at irregular times, sometimes skipping meals and then overeating at night. When they shifted to steady, smaller meals at regular hours, not only did their digestion improve, but their blood pressure readings evened out. Let's talk about labels for a moment. The grocery store can be tricky. Words like low fat or heart healthy don't always mean what you think. For example, a box of crackers might say whole grain in big letters, but then you turn it around and find it loaded with sodium. Or a flavored yogurt might seem like a good choice until you notice it has more sugar than a candy bar. So my advice, always flip the package and read the fine print. Look for foods that are low in sodium and added sugars, high in fiber, and close to their natural form. Your heart and arteries will thank you. Now, I know some of you may be wondering about home blood pressure monitors. They can be incredibly helpful, but only if used correctly. Make sure you're sitting comfortably, back supported, feet flat on the floor, and your arm resting at heart level. Don't take a reading right after climbing the stairs or rushing around the house. Wait at least 5 minutes. And here's a little trick. Take 2 or 3 readings a minute apart and average them. That gives a much more accurate picture. Hydration is worth circling back to. Many seniors I see tell me they don't drink much water because they don't want to run to the bathroom too often. But here's the thing. Dehydration can thicken your blood slightly, making your heart work harder. That, in turn, nudges your pressure upward. You don't need to chug gallons of water. Just keep a reusable bottle nearby and sip steadily throughout the day. Even switching 1 or 2 sodas or sweetened drinks for water can make a noticeable difference. Something else that gets overlooked is the role of laughter and joy. It may sound almost too simple, but when you laugh, your blood vessels relax. Think about the last time you watched a funny movie, or your grandchild said something that made you burst out laughing. You probably felt lighter, calmer, even healthier in that moment. Joy isn't just good for the soul, it's medicine for the body too. And speaking of grandchildren, staying active with family can be one of the best ways to keep blood pressure in check. Whether it's a walk to the park, playing a light game of catch, or even helping them with homework while moving around the house, these small activities combine love, movement, and mental stimulation all in one. Now, one more lifestyle factor I want to highlight is smoking. Even occasional smoking narrows blood vessels, stiffens arteries, and drives blood pressure higher. If you smoke, quitting is the single best thing you can do, not just for blood pressure, but for your entire health. I've seen people in their 60s and 70s quit and still reap enormous benefits. It's never too late. Finally, I want you to think about the bigger picture. Blood pressure control isn't just about preventing heart attacks or strokes, although that's critical. It's about maintaining independence. It's about having the energy to travel, to enjoy your hobbies, to keep up with your grandchildren, and to live life on your terms. Every small choice you make, what you eat, how you move, how you manage stress, is a step toward that freedom. Another factor that plays a big role in blood pressure is how you start your day. Many of my patients tell me they wake up, grab their phone, read the news, and immediately feel stressed. That spike in anxiety can push your pressure up before you even have breakfast. Instead, imagine beginning your morning with a few slow stretches, a glass of water, and maybe a few minutes of quiet breathing or prayer. You'd be surprised how much calmer your body feels when you ease into the day instead of rushing headlong into stress. Let's also touch on dining out, because I know for many seniors, eating at restaurants is part of social life. The challenge is, restaurant meals often contain a lot of hidden sodium. Soups, sauces, salad dressings, those are the biggest culprits. But here's what you can do. Don't be shy about asking your server if the kitchen can prepare your meal with less salt. Many places are happy to accommodate. You can also ask for sauces and dressings on the side, giving you more control. And if the portions are large, share with a friend or take half home. Not only does this cut sodium, but it also prevents overeating, which is another factor for blood pressure. Now, I want to mention one of the silent drivers of high blood pressure: poor kidney health. Your kidneys help balance fluids and sodium in your body. When they're stressed by too much salt, too little water, or even high blood sugar, your pressure can creep up. That's why managing your blood sugar, staying hydrated, and eating whole foods also supports your kidneys, which in turn supports your blood pressure. For those of you who enjoy gardening, here's some good news. Gentle activities like pulling weeds, watering plants, or tending to flowers count as exercise. They keep your body moving, lower stress, and give you the joy of being outdoors. I remember one patient in her early 70s who said her garden was her therapy room. She spent an hour each morning tending to it. And not only did her blood pressure improve, but so did her mood. That's the beauty of combining movement with something you love. I also want to bring up medication. Not because this video is about starting prescriptions, but because some medicines you might already be taking for other conditions can actually raise blood pressure. Over-the-counter decongestants, certain pain relievers like ibuprofen, and even some herbal supplements can affect your numbers. This is why it's important to keep your doctor informed about everything you're taking, not just prescriptions. Sometimes simply adjusting a medication can bring your readings back into a safe range. And let's not forget balance and safety. A fall or injury can indirectly affect your pressure too, because when you're in pain or less active, your body struggles more. That's why I always remind seniors to keep their home environment safe. Simple changes like removing loose rugs, installing grab bars in the bathroom, and making sure there's good lighting in hallways can keep you active and confident, which supports your heart health. Finally, I want to give you a mindset shift. Many people see blood pressure as a battle, something to fight against, but I encourage you to see it differently. Your blood pressure is a signal. It's your body's way of telling you how it's doing. Instead of fearing the numbers, use them as guidance. If they're a little high, that's your cue to reflect. Did I get enough sleep? Did I eat too much salty food yesterday? Did I skip my walk? Those numbers aren't your enemy, they're your compass. One thing I often remind my patients is that blood pressure responds to patterns, not perfection. Think about it. If you enjoy a salty meal at a summer barbecue, that one moment doesn't erase months of healthy habits. What matters is the overall rhythm of your lifestyle. Your arteries, your heart, your brain, they notice the long-term trends. So instead of beating yourself up over one indulgence, simply balance it out the next day with lighter meals, more water, and some extra movement. That mindset keeps you encouraged instead of discouraged. Another area that deserves attention is alcohol. Many folks enjoy a glass of wine with dinner or a beer while watching the game, and in moderation that can be fine. But what often happens is moderation creep, one drink slowly becomes 2 or 3, and suddenly your blood pressure starts climbing. A good self-check is this. If alcohol is part of your daily routine, try designating a few nights each week as alcohol-free. Your body will thank you, your sleep will improve, and your pressure may drop noticeably. Let's talk about weight in a practical way. When I mention weight loss, many seniors immediately picture drastic diets or going hungry, which I never recommend. What works far better is swapping out calorie-dense foods for nutrient-dense ones, for example, trading a bag of chips for a handful of almonds, or swapping soda for sparkling water with a splash of lemon. These little switches help shave off calories, stabilize blood sugar, and lower pressure, all without leaving you feeling deprived. I also want to mention the importance of routine checkups, even if you're not on medication. Regular visits to your doctor help you stay ahead of the game. Blood pressure often doesn't cause symptoms until it's dangerously high, which is why it's called the silent killer. By checking in, you get reassurance, guidance, and adjustments if needed before small issues turn into big ones. Now, let's circle back to stress, because this is often the hidden factor. Think about the times your heart has raced, stuck in traffic, dealing with bills, or feeling overwhelmed by technology. Those moments release stress hormones that tighten your arteries. But here's the encouraging part. You can train your body to respond differently. Gentle breathing exercises, mindfulness, prayer, or even listening to calming music can all help. I had a patient in her late 60s who started a simple practice of deep breathing while sitting in her recliner each evening. Within a few months, her blood pressure dropped nearly 10 points without any other major changes. And here's something many people don't realize: hobbies are medicine too. Whether it's painting, woodworking, knitting, or playing cards with friends, activities you genuinely enjoy lower stress hormones and create a sense of fulfillment. That emotional balance reflects directly in your blood pressure. So when you pick up that paintbrush or garden trowel, don't think of it as just fun. Think of it as heart care in disguise. Finally, let's not underestimate sleep. Seniors often struggle with insomnia or disrupted rest, and poor sleep consistently pushes blood pressure higher. Aim for a calm evening routine. Dim the lights, turn off screens, sip a cup of herbal tea, maybe read a light book before bed. These signals tell your body it's time to wind down. I've had patients who improved their sleep hygiene and, without changing anything else, saw their morning blood pressure improve within weeks. So, when we put this all together in food, movement, stress management, sleep, connection, it paints a clear picture. Your daily choices are powerful medicine, and each choice, no matter how small, moves you closer to steady, healthy numbers. Something I'd like to highlight now is the importance of creating a supportive home environment. You see, blood pressure isn't just about what you eat or how you move, it's also about the atmosphere you live in every day. If your home feels cluttered, noisy, or stressful, your body reacts to that tension. But if you take small steps to make your space calmer, like keeping a tidy kitchen, adding plants, or setting aside a quiet chair by the window, you create a little sanctuary that helps your body relax. And relaxation directly lowers blood pressure. Let's also talk about technology. Many seniors now use smartwatches or apps to track steps, heart rate, and even blood pressure. These tools can be incredibly motivating, but they can also create anxiety if you check them too often. If you find yourself obsessing over numbers, try limiting how often you track. Use the data as a guide, not a source of stress. The real benefit is in noticing progress over time, not in chasing perfect daily readings. Another big factor is seasonal changes. Did you know blood pressure often rises in the winter? Colder temperatures can constrict blood vessels. That's why it's especially important to stay active indoors during colder months. Walking laps in the mall, using light hand weights at home, or even climbing the stairs a few extra times. And in the summer, don't forget hydration. Heat can deplete fluids quickly, and dehydration pushes blood pressure up. I'd also like to touch on the role of purpose. This might sound more emotional than medical, but it's deeply connected. When you wake up in the morning with something to look forward to, whether it's volunteering, working on a craft, or meeting a friend, your stress hormones stay lower. When those hormones are balanced, blood pressure naturally steadies. I've seen seniors who felt aimless after retirement find a new hobby or volunteer role, and not only did their spirits lift, but their blood pressure improved too. Now let's consider the role of gratitude. Studies actually show that people who practice gratitude by keeping a small journal or even mentally noting 3 things they're thankful for each evening tend to have lower stress and healthier blood pressure. It's such a simple habit, yet incredibly powerful. Imagine ending your day not with worry, but with a smile, recalling the small blessings of the day. That shift in mindset calms the body as much as the heart. One more point I often emphasize is balance with stimulants. Things like energy drinks or strong teas can sneak into your diet and cause sudden spikes. Many seniors don't realize that natural doesn't always mean harmless. So be mindful. If you notice palpitations or jitteriness after a drink or supplement, it may be time to scale back. And here's a story I'll share. A gentleman in his early 70s once came to me frustrated. His readings hovered high despite walking daily. When we reviewed his habits, we realized he was having canned soup for lunch almost every day, thinking it was a light, healthy choice. That soup was loaded with sodium. Once he switched to homemade vegetable soups, seasoned with herbs instead of salt, his pressure dropped nearly 15 points in 2 months. It was such a simple change, yet life-changing for him. The lesson here is that small adjustments can make a big impact. And when you view your blood pressure not as an enemy, but as a teacher, guiding you toward healthier patterns, you unlock a powerful path forward. When I step back and look at everything we've talked about, one message shines through clearly. You are not powerless when it comes to your blood pressure. In fact, the choices you make each day are some of the strongest medicines you'll ever have. From the meals you put on your plate, to the walks you take around the block, to the way you breathe and manage stress, each of these moments adds up little by little to shape your health. I've seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s turn things around, not by doing something extreme, but by making steady, consistent changes. A woman who swapped her afternoon chips for fruit, a man who walked each evening after dinner instead of sinking into his recliner, a couple who chose to cook together with less salt and more fresh foods. None of them made a huge leap overnight. They simply leaned into small habits that felt realistic. And over time, the numbers followed. And isn't that the encouraging part? You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to follow a complicated program or feel like your best years are behind you. What matters is simply moving forward one step at a time. Think of it this way: every walk you take, every glass of water you drink, every night of restful sleep is like adding deposits into your health savings account. The more you put in, the more you'll be able to enjoy down the road. Whether that's traveling, gardening, playing with your grandchildren, or just waking up feeling strong and steady. So let this be a reminder that your health is in your hands, and it's never too late to make a difference. No matter your age, your history, or your current readings, change is possible, and more than that, it's worth it. Because what you're really protecting isn't just a number on a machine, it's your independence, your energy, and your ability to live life on your own terms. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. I know you could be doing 100 other things, but the fact that you're here, listening, tells me you care about your health and your future. And that matters. I hope you leave today not with fear, but with hope, and with a few practical steps you can start putting into place right away. If this conversation has been helpful, I'd love for you to stay connected. You can do that by liking this video, sharing a comment about what changes you're planning to try, and subscribing so we can keep walking this journey together. Every week, I'll be here with more guidance, encouragement, and practical tips tailored to your stage of life. Until then, take good care of yourself. Stay kind to your body, gentle with your mind, and hopeful in your spirit. You deserve good health, peaceful days, and the joy of living fully. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Stay well, my friends.